In the quiet dust of museum archives and the sterile clean rooms of university laboratories, there are thousands of clay tablets etched with the tiny wedge-shaped script of ancient Sumer. These tablets tell a story so vast and strange that we have filed it away under the heading of myth. Yet they depict our solar system with a precision that seems impossible for a civilization peering at the heavens with only the naked eye. This is the story of the Anunnaki, written not as a fable, but as a history. Our story begins not under the warm yellow sun of Earth, but in the deep twilight of a world adrift on the planet Nibiru, as it's moving on a vast elliptical path that slingshots it into the blackest depths of space for thousands of years before bringing it back through the inner solar system. The beings who lived there were tall and pale, their society a towering achievement of science that had conquered disease and want, yet their world was dying. Their atmosphere was bleeding away into the vacuum molecule by molecule. At the apex of this civilization sat King Anu. His scientists proposed a final, desperate hypothesis. If they could acquire a vast quantity of gold and pulverize it into a fine monatomic dust, they could suspend it in their atmosphere to reflect light and heat, stabilizing their climate. But Nibiru's gold was exhausted. Their attention turned to a small, vibrant planet, seventh in their celestial count from the outer darkness, known by its inhabitants as Planet Earth. Anu's two sons embodied the central conflict of the mission. Enlil, the commander, saw Earth as a mere mining operation. Enki, a master geneticist, saw a world of biological wonders, new brokered a fragile peace. Enki would lead the landing party to establish Eridu, the home in the faraway, while Enlil would retain ultimate command from orbit. A crew of 50 pioneers descended into the Mesopotamian marshes. To Enki, the air of Earth was a thick, soupy presence, heavy with humidity and the musky perfume of life. But the gold here was scattered. To find the mother lode, Enki's drones scanned the globe and found the Abzu, the rich veins of southern Africa. To perform the grueling labor, Enlil conscripted 300 lower caste Anunnaki, known as the Ajiji, for tens of thousands of years. These beings were yoked to the brutal monotony of breaking rocks and suffocating heat. Eventually, the misery curdled into a cold, hard anger. Led by a rebel named Elilu, the Ajiji burned their tools and marched on Enlil's dwelling in Eridu. Besieged and facing a failed mission, the council convened. Enlil demanded a brutal military crackdown, but Enki offered a radical alternative. He had studied a primitive hominid in the Abzu that walked upright and used stone tools. "We can create a primitive worker," Enki proclaimed. "We can mix its essence with our own and jumpstart its evolution." The work began in the Shimi, the house where the wind of life is breathed in. After many failed attempts and monstrous births, Nin Hersak, the chief medical officer, offered her own womb as a vessel. The infant that emerged was perfect to Demu. He had the robust build of Earth and the intelligence of the Anunnaki. To ensure control, Anu decreed that these workers must be sterile. The first humans lived in the Eden, a lush, engineered paradise where they were taught simple tasks. But Enki, the artist, grew dissatisfied with his terminal creation. In a secret act of genetic defiance, he activated the latent DNA sequences for procreation. When Enlil discovered the humans wearing loincloths, sign of their new self-awareness, he was incandescent with rage. He drove them out of the Eden into the untamed wilderness. Adamu and his mate Tiamat survived in the wild, bearing children naturally. Humanity multiplied, but with self-awareness came the first tragedy, the murder of Abel by his brother Cain over a divine offering. As humans spread, Enlil viewed them as a planetary infestation, a source of constant noise that offended his sense of order. The opportunity to end the experiment arrived with the return of Nibiru. Its gravitational pull threatened to dislodge the Antarctic ice shelf, triggering a global deluge. Enlil demanded a sworn oath of secrecy. The Anunnaki would evacuate, and humanity would be left to drown. Enki, bound by the oath, but moved by love for his creation, found a loophole. He spoke to the reed wall of a hut, where a pious man named Ziusudra slept. Through the wall, he gave instructions to build a sealed, submersible vessel and to gather the seed of all living things, a library of genetic essence. When the ice shelf broke, a wall of water hundreds of feet high scoured the continents. From orbit, the Anunnaki watched in horror as their creation was erased. Even Enlil was stunned into a grim silence. When the waters receded and the ark came to rest on Mount Ararat, Ziusudra offered a sacrifice. The smell of the roasting meat drew the hungry gods down from the sky. Enlil's fury at the survival of man was finally blunted by shared remorse. He blessed Ziusudra and vowed never again to destroy the race. In the post-flood world, the Anunnaki became the architects of civilization, divided Earth into three regions: Mesopotamia, the Nile Valley, and the Indus Valley. They lowered kingship from heaven, appointing human intermediaries to rule as priest-kings. However, the old rivalries of the gods were passed to their children. Marduk, Enki's ambitious son, sought supreme rule. His defiance led to the Pyramid Wars and the construction of the Tower of Babel, a launch facility intended to challenge Enlil's monopoly on space travel. To break human unity, Enlil used a neurological frequency to confound the languages, scattering humanity into isolated tribes. The conflict escalated until the Enlilites authorized the use of weapons of terror, nuclear devices, to destroy Marduk's power base in the Jordan Valley. The resulting radioactive evil wind drifted over Sumer, killing the very people the gods had sworn to protect. In the poisoned silence that followed, the gods realized the age of their direct governance was over. Their mission was complete. Nibiru's atmosphere was repaired. One by one, they retreated in Ninurta. And finally, Enki. They left behind stone monuments like Giza and Stonehenge as silent beacons of their presence. Humanity was left alone, our creator's history fading into the whispers of myth. We grew to interpret the Anunnaki as gods, their skyships as fiery chariots, and their genetic engineering as divine breath. Yet the story remains. It lives in the planet Nine that our modern astronomers hunt for in the outer darkness, and in the divine spark we feel when we look at the stars. We are the children of two worlds, the heirs of a dying planet and a vibrant one, forever seeking the footprints of the giants who once walked among us. Humanity was left alone, our creator's history fading into the whispers of myth. We grew to interpret the Anunnaki as gods, their skyships as fiery chariots, and their genetic engineering as divine breath. Yet the story remains. It lives in the planet Nine that our modern astronomers hunt for in the outer darkness, and in the divine spark we feel when we look at the stars. We are the children of two worlds, the heirs of a dying planet and a vibrant one, forever seeking the footprints of the giants who once walked among us. The power of the Anunnaki story lives in that fertile space between myth and machine, between the ancient poem and the scientific printout. It reminds us that our world is a place of deep mystery, that our past is not a closed book, and that our future is still being written among the stars. If this journey into the secrets of our past sparked your curiosity, please like this video and subscribe to Ancient Origins. Your support helps us continue to pull these stories from the archives and tell them as they were meant to be told. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a chance to explore the hidden history of our world. Reassure yourself that all is well. The past is a quiet and distant shore. The final imagery fades to the soft silver light of the moon on your window, and the only sound is your own calm, steady breathing. Thank you for watching and for being part of this journey.